Unfortunately, my camera's giving me some real problems. I know some of you who follow have seen that before. Anyway, here we are at Hexica. We're about to start the game. I want to clarify a couple of things. One is, I could not find in the tutorial video where it goes over the issue that I'm disturbed by, which is this one tip that seems to indicate that you can't fly over destroyed ships. There is a stacking limitation in the game that could kind of be taken to count on that, except that the salvagers, they don't specify that the salvagers are breaking that stacking limitation by moving onto the ships and salvaging them in that way. Regardless, it seems clear from that tip that that is the intention of the game, that there is you can create a barrier of rubble that other ships can't move over. It requires them to be salvaged and taken for cash. On top of that, there was something else. Damned if I remember what. Oh yes, something I forgot to mention in my rules, which I went into in complete detail. I don't know why. Anyway, the mothership, it doesn't get a free attack. Every other ship gets a free attack. It costs $4 to make that attack with the mothership. Now, it's got a range of 6, and it does the maximal damage of any of the ships. It does 5 or 7, which is enough to wipe out anything except the F-35 and a mothership. So, it's got a very, very potent attack. So, for 4 credits, you can wipe out most enemy ships within 6 range. The reason I noted that was, hey, I was looking at my cards to decide what I'm going to do, and I see dual laser. Play this when attacking. Pay once for the mothership and shoot 2 separate targets in the same turn. So that's kind of a cool opportunity. Now he's got a couple of combat-oriented cards here. This detonator. Play the card while attacking. It destroys an enemy ship beside the mothership. I think they mean beside, not in terms of geographical, but as excluding. But, you know, it's hard to get things worded perfectly in any case. Okay, so let's make sure I'm still charging here. I'm on a little cord, but my table's in a better place than it usually is, or at least further towards the wall. It's a bigger table now. I've got to decide what I want to do with my ships. This is the initial move. I'm going to get another move on my next turn, but not until after I earn my harvesting money. So I'd like to get my harvesters, and let's see, those are these little triangles, into position to grab me cash early on. Now they've got a speed of 4. 1, 2, 3. What I'm doing here is I'm positioning myself to attack all one player. What about the salvager? Well, that has a speed of 4 as well. And I'm going to push that out here. I have no idea where the flag's going to show up. And I'll move the mothership this way. I'm pushing in one player's direction. Why? Because I have those combat cards. Now I'll go to the end. I've chosen the player who will always go before me in a turn. Why is that important? I'm not sure it really is. Because the player order is fixed, so it just feels likely that he's the person I'm going to have the drop on. I could be mistaken about this, but usually in games like this, you always have an advantage on someone. And I think I have the advantage on the guy who always goes before me. That's just a guess. I don't know enough. Now you can see these came out by color. It's because these cards were a little hard to shuffle. Certainly putting them in plastic would help. I got to think a little bit about Red's turn and what he's going to do. I'll come back. Alright, another little omission I noticed. So I'm beginning to fill in with the reds into the areas that green kind of abandoned, but also maintaining at least one harvester out here to kind of stake a claim on a larger segment of the playing field. Figuring I'll take advantage of that ultra extreme move that green made. But the thing that I missed, harvesters collect money even in empty space. They collect $1, they collect 2 over in these gas clusters. So the question becomes, do you expose yourself in the gas clusters or not? The gas clusters give you more cash, but they might force you to put your ships into a more risky position. At the beginning of the game, it doesn't matter. There's no combat capability because nobody's got the cash to fire the mothership, and the other ships have no combat ability whatsoever. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the choices of placement, because I've moved everyone in this pre-game setup. Like I said, we have combat capabilities here. Destroy an enemy ship, and then the dual attack with the mothership made green feel like they should take an opposition to someone. Red's position naturally was to move towards there, but they have some interesting cards in place. They have 2 warping cards. One of them is really cool, at least in my mind. It allows you to move 3 enemy ships at the start of a player's turn to any empty spaces on the map. You can just jump people out of your way. That sounds really cool. And then the other one is to jump your own ships. Now, in both cases, the mothership can't be used here. Jumping your own ships doesn't sound terribly valuable except to get them out of a dangerous situation, maybe. You're not going to be able to jump your mothership and a salvager into place for the flag. Over here, with the blue player, he has this maintenance that allows him to remove 10 damage points. That's a kind of nice combat card. But then the one that really excites him, the Harvest Bounty. He's going to play this right away, he thinks. It doubles the amount that he's going to harvest. So he made sure to collect maximal money off his harvesters. He wants to get that little jump at the early part of the game. There's a danger to doing something like that. An economic type advantage early in the game is you kind of make yourself look like you're in the lead in these kind of games. So there might be a reason to hold off on doing that, but I don't tend to play that cleverly when I'm doing solo. Finally, the yellow player has what one of the designers or one of the people on the demo indicated, Sabotage was his favorite card. This does 1 damage to 10 harvesters of your choice. So you can lay out a lot of damage on a lot of other people. In and of itself, I don't think that sounds terribly valuable, because unless people are leaving their harvesters with a point of damage on them, it's not going to wreck anything. It might open things up so that an F-1-3, which only does 1 damage half the time, has a fairly certain chance of destroying it, but that sounds not terribly tremendous to me. On the other hand, this reinforcements, given yellow's position and the threat that green put on them, and it's a shame I've got green and yellow near each other because they're hard to distinguish. Look at that. That's, I mean, it's clear they're different, but the graphics on these make the color so much more important in a way. Compared to older style graphics. But this allows him to take 2 F-1-3s, 2 bandits, or an F-4-5. Now, he probably wants the lighter ones to wipe out their harvesting capability and start a war against them. But he may find that he's actually more likely to be at war with purple, just because he had to expand in this direction to get away from the green player. So who knows which way it's going to go. We're going to play this out and see where we go. We're about ready to actually start the game itself, as it were. The game didn't start yet. All that started this was the setup turn, essentially. Now we go into the regular sequence of play, which is hard to read off here, so I'll be using this for the most part. And the first thing we do is we roll for a flag. And we get double 6s. I'll just take a random flag, it doesn't really matter where it comes from. And here's a problem, you gotta 4, 5, 6. Okay, you've got the numbers along here. That's great for the first one, but then what's the next one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hex maps are kind of annoying this way, and we're going to be cross-referencing this and this. It looks like it'll be this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just kind of an obnoxious factor. Maybe squares would have been more applicable to this kind of thing. Who knows? Or numbers in each hex, just to indicate that. Okay, so we've got a flag here. Is anybody near that? Yeah, there's a bunch of salvagers near that, all of which can grab it. This is green's turn, though, and his salvager is not close to it. Ah, pity for him. Oh, you're not free from the first turn because you get a roll for cash at the beginning. So he gets a quick roll for money. And he's going to get $5, I guess. Which, unfortunately, I'm on a cord here right now, so I'm not able to flex as easily as I'd like to. He's got his cash there. Now, what can he do? Well, he earns his harvesting money too. Ah, more money coming in that would not that allows him to attack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. So I wasn't thinking very carefully there. Let's give him an 8-bucker. Now we got to think. Do I want to buy ships? Well, yeah, obviously. Do I want to buy cards? Nah, not at $8 each. This isn't the time for that. But what kind of ships do I want to buy? And what do I want to do with them? My dual laser. So, one thing is when you knock out somebody, their mothership, you get all their flags. You also get any of their advanced system cards. So knocking out someone's mothership is a powerful blow. Can I maybe knock yellow out of the game here? Well, the mothership takes 20 points of damage. 2 hits would do 14. I'd have to get lucky with these hits. What is my other attack? My other attack's a detonator, which just destroys a ship. I'd rather hold off on that. I have a lot of money, though. I have $12. So now, well, I have 13. $12 could buy me one of each type of attack ship. Now, the F-35 only goes 4 hexes. 1, 2, 3, 4. That could get me in range of the mothership and finish that off right away. Not that there's a huge advantage to knocking someone out, but I'd get his system cards. I'd get his cash. This doesn't seem like the time to do it, to tell you the truth. This feels like I want to advance somewhat and position myself a little better. So I think what I'm going to do is I can only advance into 2 of these. So let's say I buy 2 more harvesters. That'll cost me $4. And they go right on the mothership. I'm not going to be able to get that flag because my salvager can only move 4, so I didn't get lucky there. What else can I do here? $8 more. I think I'd like to get a bandit. Okay, these are bandits? No, those are something else. These are bandits. So a bandit gives me a chance at getting enemy ships at this point. I don't want to rely on bandits necessarily because I'm going to want some firepower soon. But what happens if I buy 2 bandits at this point? They have a movement allowance of 4. 1, 2. Well, I can attack red, and that's what I'm going to aim for, is an attack on red. So now we go to move ships. 1, 2, 3. I don't want to get too close. I'll put my bandits here. I'll move my My salvager, I don't know what I can do with him yet. So I'm going to throw him over there. And I'll sneak my mothership back here. I feel a little exposed back there, but that's okay. We'll see what we're doing. Now I get to attack. I'm going to attack these harvesters, try to capture them, take away Red's productive capability, and grab really half the board, at least by my naive view of things. So let's do the first one, and I'll roll both the red and the blue die at the same time, just to avoid some extra ristage. I didn't hit, so no problem. And same thing here. I didn't hit, so no problem. And that's green's turn. Work our way across into red's turn. Okay, so as we continue our exploration of a Hexica, started off with red's turn, and they rolled an 8 and a 3. That would have put the flag here, but that's illegal. A flag can't show up in a non-empty space. Now, you just end up rolling again in that case. And as the board gets more cluttered, this could be a problem in terms of a lot of die rolling. Seems like the game doesn't really take into account too much how much ristage is in effect. So 7-2, that one's legal. We'll see if it becomes an issue later in the game where we're constantly re-rolling. On either that or on the combat rolls, how much... Well, each player, each attack is only going to generate 2 dice being rolled, right, in general. Okay, so now what do we do with red? Red's got these warping abilities to let them get out of problem positions. Okay, well, let's give them some cash to begin with. They want that. They get 3 quick bucks. And then... 1, 2, 3, 4, they collect their full 8 for that. And now they've got to make their decision. What are they doing this turn, this game? They've got this problem with green attacked them. They feel like maybe the way green squeezed yellow, moving against green is the way to go. They don't have tremendous ability to attack. Of course, they could use the aggressive warping to position ships, but this is at the beginning, at the beginning of movement phase, so they'd get to build first. So they would kind of like to hit some green things. On the other hand, they'd like to snag this flag, too. They don't need another scavenger for that, or salvager, or whatever they're called. So, well, we want production. No question there. That costs us $2. I hope I was only paying $2 for these suckers. I don't know if I was. Shit. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I built 2 of them. That would have been $4. $8, $12. That sounds right. I think I had 13 total. Okay. So yeah, $2. I'm going to buy myself some additional production capability, and I'm going to buy myself a couple of military ships. And what am I going to do with those military ships? I'm going to buy the 2 little guys. I'm going to use them to try to hit these bandits, because they're a threat to me. And I want to knock out some of my opponent's capabilities. I'm not spending any money on firing my ships. My home ship. Same thing with green, not spending on that. Why? Well, because building new ships increases, you know, what you have as a presence on the board. Firing, that's an expensive roll to wipe out an enemy ship. It's a cost equal to the building of your own ship. Of course, if you're in a war, it may make sense. So now we begin movement. 1, 2, 3, I pick this up, and then I head back 4. Now I'm worried somebody may take this from me. Shoot it out, whatever. I'd also kind of like to worry about these. I'll move down there. That looks like a safe place. These guys are incredibly fast. They have a movement of 8 hexes. So I can get them pretty much where I like. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that means I don't create a wall. But I'm coming kind of close. And now I'm going to shoot. I'll shoot this bandit. And again, I either do 1 or 3 points of damage. I'm not going to kill the bandit with these. But I am going to be able to make it so that that bandit needs to be repaired. That's the best thing I can kind of do against green and provide sort of a tactical barrier that I think is of some value from what I can understand of the system. So, let's see. I rolled high, so I'll be doing 3 points of damage, and it was not blocked. Now, because these aren't numbered chits or anything like that, because they're colors, I've got to look up and try to find out what those colors mean. I know blue means 1, but, you know, the choice of doing this in a non-standard fashion, I'm sure you get used to it eventually, fairly quickly. Okay, so green is a 2, so I have to put a blue and a green, and I'll of course have to look that up every time that I'm interested in things. I probably should have set it up so I was shooting 2 into 1 bandit, because these are still risks that are out there for me. But, well, that's not what I did. Okay. A 6 is not a defensive roll. Defense needs to be a 1. So I got a high roll on him as well. And that's another blue-green combination of damage. Now we move on to the purple player, I believe. It's kind of odd to have production just before you move an attack. That just feels strange to me. Some aspect of the game, say the board design, reminds me a lot of Stellar Conquest, but the sequence of play does not really feel like an old style game in the same way with that, hey, build, move, and attack. That's very strange. Usually it's the other way around. This allows for a quick deployment of forces, though, to screen yourself, which seems to be a part of the game. Alright, let's go on with the blue player. Blue sees a flag show up over here. Now he's got this one he can pick up, and he can in fact pick that up with his mothership if I understand flags correctly. Nope, a salvager must be used. I remembered somewhere it's saying you could pick something up. Maybe they can pick up wreckage. Well, that seems to be specific to salvagers too. I remember somewhere mentioning that you could pick things up, something up, with the home ship, the mothership, but that doesn't seem to be part of the rules. I must have been off that video. Again, they may not have expressed what they intend to be the rules in the document very well. Alright, I'll go with the written rules because that's the only reference I have. That's what they chose to sell the game with, even if they've decided to change it online. I don't generally favor doing that. So, I've got a boatload of money because I played this Harvest Bounty and it goes away. And that gave me 4, 8, 16 bucks. I got a good roll, 5 extra bucks for that. What do I want to build with this? Well, I'm running low on video time, so I'll come back and let you know what I did. Bought a big pile of stuff, a couple of harvesters. That's all I can add to. 1 here, 1 here, 3, 4. Actually, I could have bought another one, but then I ended up buying 4 of these little fighters for 16 points. I figure if I have so many fighters, I don't want to worry about these bandit raiders or whatever. So what I'm going to do is 1, 2, I pick this up. Now I transfer that. That's my flag. 3, 4. I'm moving my scavenger into place to be in position to grab this. Maybe I wanted another scavenger, but I can always buy that as the time occurs. Now here, I was going to spread these suckers out, 1, 2, 3, into there to improve my production. 1, 2, 3, 4, out here. And now I want to protect my claim over here, essentially. 1, 2. Here's the problem. I'd like to take some pot shots. These guys are very fast. So I can create a little shield around that extra thing I've got there, and I can kind of push my mothership in this direction. And yeah, I'm gonna try to hurt the yellow player. There's a very good chance I'm gonna wipe out his standings there, and I'm running low on time, so I'm gonna kind of do a mixed video here. It won't affect anything. And at the end of the combat phase, we can see one of those has been destroyed. Now it's not a salvageable ship for 1 credit. If I send a salvager over into that hex, I get a buck, and that whoever does it, and that returns it to yellow's stock. Yellow can't use that ship while it's a rack. On this one, they got lucky and got a defensive roll, and only a low hit them. Otherwise, they were pretty much, if they didn't get a defensive roll, they were guaranteed to lose both ships. So they didn't, and that's kind of a nice situation for them. Now that puts them in a position where they are more worried about blue than they are about those old green guys who attacked them. Green is tied down with a fight with red, so now we're kind of dividing into 2 separate little wars here, rather than what it looked like might be a combined situation where, say, blue and green would be fighting red or whatever. That's not happening in this particular game. One thing that I'm noting, and I'm going to think about this as I go further and further, is what effect order of play has on the game. Now, early in the game, it could mean wiping someone out. There was some thought in my head about green taking yellow out, but it's not like Titan, where wiping someone out early is a clear benefit to the player who does it. This is a game where, yeah, you'd get a couple of these, and that's 16 bucks worth of expenses, although maybe they're not worth that you'd have to spend. But it's also, you've expended a lot of your effort to destroy someone, whereas other people could be expanding and getting more credits and preparing themselves for next turn's production, and you're not really ahead in that. You haven't wiped out anything terribly valuable. You haven't gained anything terribly valuable by knocking someone out at that position. Now, as the game goes on and people gather flags, wiping someone out could win you the game. And that definitely becomes more of a factor towards more extreme combat, I would think. So I don't think it's a terrible factor in terms of order of play, but it does change things a little bit, certainly in terms of making your decision of who to go after, how to do things. If the first player goes very peacefully, well, maybe everybody hunts them then. But if they go warlike, well, then maybe they define how the game's going to go in that position. So I don't think that every player has a sort of symmetrical position, even though the board kind of suggests that. All right, let's move on to the yellow player. Now, I again rolled rolled a location, in this case right on top of the scavenger for yellow. What a pity. It ended up showing up back here instead. Not anywhere near as useful to them. I'm trying to decide yellow's strategy here. But it did bring out something. The more cluttered your space is, the more ships you have there, yours and opponents, whatever, the less likely you're going to get a flag on your space. It's the big empty spaces. So defining a lot of territory with that you kind of control without having pieces in it. Very Go-like concept here, right? Build a border, build a wall, do not fill in. improves your chances of getting flags where you can easily capture them. All right, now thinking about yellow's actions, I haven't collected their cash yet, but they have some nice ones here. They have this reinforcements that allows them to add some battle pieces to the field very cheaply. Now that's worth a good $8 right there. So that card is worth exactly what you pay for it, actually. And this one, therefore, it's probably not worth buying in the hopes of getting this. And it's one of the better cards that I've seen. Although, of course, the Harvest Bounty, that was worth $8 at the beginning of the game. It might be worth more later. And this you could hold on to make you not look as big and dangerous. But at this point, yellow feels like they're fighting for their life after this attack. And the Sabotage card, well, that might be the edge that makes F-13s worthwhile. So they're probably going to go for an attack against the blue player and try to knock him back to at least as bad a position as yellow's been in. This is the problem with going late in the game, is that people could have hunted you and you'll no longer produce as well. So whatever sort of signaling that you give from that early position, and I think that's actually a powerful signaling, it can help define what the game is the way that green did. If there's any disadvantage to signaling what you're doing, it's certainly outweighed by the fact that you can knock out somebody else's stuff before they get to produce on that first turn. However you want to look at that. So yellow was able to play that reinforcements card over there. And they also played the money they produced this turn, which wasn't very much, and built themselves a pile of attack little F-13s. I don't know how many they have here. I think it's one more than I should. It's hard to separate these things. What they're going to do for movement is 1, 2, 3, 4, grabbing themselves a salvage buck. I'll have to get that from over there somehow. My little wire is keeping me attached to this wall. Now, they have this sucker, which says play it while attacking. I assume that's any time during your attack phase. I doubt the rules handle anything in that specifically. They don't tend to be very good at doing stuff like that in here. What is it called? Play this card. Yeah, it's just got the words that you see on the card. There's no further information on there, so they're not terribly helpful in terms of that. Okay, so what do I want to do? Well, I perhaps want to hurt his production, but I also have to deal with these suckers. Now, I was thinking about a big attack, but I don't think that's worthwhile. Question is, could I have knocked this sucker out? Well, I could do 7 points with my mothership if that attacked, and then maybe 12 more. That's not quite enough to do the damage. So since I have that harvester card, I am going to attack their harvesters. Let's see what I can do there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do I want to go that far? I don't know how many I have. I've got to be able to separate these, and we're going to need some spit to do that because of these glossies. Okay. So here's the problem. You can't fly through your own ships. So I can't do what I'd like to do. Okay, this one here, one here, one here. I can't position them the way I'd like to, so I have to really think in advance where I'm going to be. So I've got 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got one additional that is kind of loose, and I don't know what to do with him. So I look at this and I say, well, I'm not going to be able to destroy one of his fighters from my fighters, so I'm going to position my stuff to go after the harvesters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, how about that scavenger? Can I hit that? Or salvager? Yeah, I'm not going to be able to kill that either. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to fly all the way around here with that. And these others, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's go here. build kind of a double wall here. I know it's not optimal. Now I've got this damaged cheese here. I would like to swap these two. I don't think I can do that. These guys only move 4. If I hadn't moved this first, I could do this, but it's too late. Let me make sure they only move 4. Yeah. I don't think I can move under that flag. I think the only things that can move under flags are salvagers. Let's check that. They look like damage cubes to me because they're the same kind of thing. Other ships. Oh, you can move over other ships. And that doesn't say. They can also move over flags and wreckage. Okay, I don't see how wreckage affects my... Oh no, you can fly over it, but you can't park on it, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. So let's see what we've got here. I think I'll just stay like this because I can't really think of anything clever to do here with these guys once I've moved this. I could 1, 2, 3, 4. I can fly over other ships. I'll position this and move here. And I guess I can fly over everything. So there's no real significant blocking. You can fly over enemy ships and everything. That's not what I thought a little earlier. Okay. Mainly because of the tip. Now I'll roll out those attacks, and I'll be basically attacking every one of his harvesters. And if I get a good enough ratio of hits, I'm going to play my sabotage and I'll hit somebody else's as well. So here's the problem. 2 were successfully defended. 2 hits, 1 wrecked. Alright, great. What does that mean? Well, I think I want to play the sabotage anyway, even though it's only going to destroy 2 of his ships, because, well, I really do need to hurt him much worse than he already is. I need to strip his ability to produce. Of course, he's going to do the same to me. So I'll play that sabotage, and that's 1. Cubes and hexes. 2, 3, 4. So now I got 6 more. Unfortunately, there may not be 6 more blue cubes. 2, 3. We're getting close to the counter mix here. It would be a lot nicer if they just, you know, I mean, wooden cubes are more expensive, so use something cheaper, right? Well, I want to deal this damage out to various people. He's going to take 1 of them. I've got to only do it to harvesters, and I must do it to 10. So let's get this and this. That's 2. I got 1 more. Red hasn't really pestered me, so I'm going to slap it on another green one. Make life a little harder on green. You know, I got to do 10, right? Alright, and hopefully people will forgive me for that. That's the end of the first turn. I know a lot of video spent on this particular turn. I usually end up covering later turns at a much higher level with less detail. But I want to show some of the thought processes involved in this and what the game's about in more detail in the first turn. Okay, well, that moves us back over here to the green player, and we'll see what he does on the next video.